So we are in a new series. Welcome you all to Morning Sip. Let's say that. Morning Sip. Sip is Spirit and Practice, and I am Rev Melissa. And we are in a new series. We're in our Parables series that we kicked off yesterday with a on-the-spot download parable preparing for the show yesterday. And so if you missed that parable, you want to catch the replay from yesterday. But it was all about, let's call it the parable of earphones. The parable of earphones, the parable of AirPods, the parable, what are you listening to, right? And what are you listening with, right? So we know that parables, I share the definition. A parable is a simple short story used to illustrate a moral or spiritual lesson, right? A moral or spiritual lesson. And the parable of the earphones was a spiritual lesson about listening, And so today I'm going to share another parable that I created. And I created this, I had the experience of this probably close to 20 years ago, I would say, somewhere around there. But I got the opportunity to make the experience into a parable when I took a class a couple of months ago through CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, called Ignite Your Life with Bible Wisdom. And the class was about studying the parables of the Bible. So studying the parables of how Jesus taught. Jesus taught through parables. And we used this book. I referenced this book yesterday, Ervin, Seale, Learn to Live. It's a new thought interpretation of the parables. And I love what he says about parables. He says that parables are stories designed to change mind, And what do we say in New Thought, right? The slogan is change your thinking, change your life, right? You could transform your life through your thinking, right? And parables is a tool that we can use to help us to see things and think another way, right? So it's usually two stories within one story, right? The lesson is in the story. So one story could be literal and the other part is figurative, which is what happened yesterday, right? I told what happened and then the spiritual meaning within what happened. Yes. So we're always looking for not just the facts of what happened, but the deeper meaning, right? So parables gives us the opportunity to take a deeper dive into whatever story we're telling ourselves, parable or not, right? We're always telling stories to ourselves about everything that happens. We'll make up a story like that, but we could look for the deeper meaning, right, Ron? We could look for the deeper meaning in the story. All right. So let me see if there's anything else I want to say before I share my parable. All right. So the parable that I created from an experience that I had about 20 years ago is called the parable of homelessness. The parable of homelessness. And the wonderful thing about this class that we took, everyone had to create their own parable, as I said, as the final project. And then Eugene Holden, who was our facilitator for the class, who is just amazing. If you don't know Eugene Holden, he Science of Mind magazine. He used to, and is back. He is back doing the prayers in the first part of the magazine. He is part of the World Ministry of Prayer, and he's an amazing prayer warrior. Oh, yes, he is. And so he taught the class, and he put all of our parables into this wonderful document with illustrations. It was just so lovely what he did. And yesterday, one of my classmates who's never been on Morning Sip, look at the universe, y'all. She's never been on Morning Sip. She was on yesterday when I was talking about the class, right? I didn't even remember that it was her, right? And I made mention of her name. Her name is Helen Moore. And so when I saw Moore, I said, if you put an R at the end, we could be related, right? But she was in my class and then it came back to me. So I'm going to share her parable tomorrow. She gave me permission to share her parable tomorrow. But I just love the way the universe just organizes all kinds of things, right? It's beautiful. So, the parable of homelessness. So, I open it with a verse from the Bible. And this is Matthew 7:7-8. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds. And to the one who knocks, the door will be open. Right, Pastor Al? Yes, let's send some energy to Pastor Al. He's healing from his surgery. Yes, so here's the parable. The kingdom of heaven is like being welcomed home, knowing that when you knock, the door will always be open. So let me just say just a quick thing about that. So the only instructions we had about creating our parable, oh, you hear that? It's some insect. You don't hear that? Oh, it's so loud. Is that it had to reflect what you think the kingdom of heaven is like, right? That was our only requirement, okay? So for me, the kingdom of heaven is like being welcomed home, knowing that when you knock, the door will always be open. She was walking down the street and saw a homeless man. He was just sitting there on the sidewalk asking for what he wanted as people walked by. Most ignored him, yet he kept asking for what he wanted. As she approached, she made the decision to give him exactly what he was asking for. She gave him what she had, which was precisely what he was asking for. As she bent down to give him her last $10 before payday the next day, he looked straight in her eyes and said, "God bless you." She looked at him straight in his eyes and said, "Thank you." As she did, to her surprise, she saw her eyes, her own eyes, looking back at her. She slowly walked away, back to work, in the elevator, into her office, closed the door, and burst into tears. She had to see him again. She had to see. She ran back outside to see him again, and he was gone. She stood in the spot where he sat and decided it was time for her to ask for what she wanted to. It was time for her to find her way home. So that is my parable of homelessness, right? And what the spiritual deeper meaning for me is to know what it is that I want, to know what you want, right? To know what you want. And when we know what we want, to ask for it, right? To ask the universe for it. What does my opening? Now I'll read my closing verse. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Believe that you will receive it. Ask, believing that you will receive it. So that homeless man, and now, the language that we use is the unhoused, right? He was asking for what he wanted. He was asking for $10, y'all. So that in and of itself, you don't see that often, right? Usually there's a sign that says, "Hold, please." Everything fell on the floor. Usually when someone is asking for money on the street, they're usually asking for like $1, or they might say, do you have any change, right? They don't usually have a sign that says, they're asking for $10, right? And so I remember this like it was yesterday, right? Seeing that sign, $10, right? And I knew I had $10 on me, and I knew that was my last $10 before I got paid the next day, right? So was I going to give this man my last $10? And everything within me was saying yes. Give it to him. Give it to him. And then when I kneeled down and put it in the thing that he had, I think it was a hat or something, and he looked at me, it was undescribable, the sense of love that I felt from this man. And he said, God bless you. And I said, thank you. And I tell you, I was looking at myself. I was looking at myself. Here he is, unhoused, homeless. And here I was feeling homeless myself, because I wasn't asking for what I wanted, because I didn't believe that I could have what I wanted. I didn't believe it. And so in not believing it, I wasn't receiving it. And this man was believing that he could get $10. He was believing it. He wrote it down, right? There's so many lessons there, right? Write down what you want. He wrote it down. I want $10. And he received it, right? So many things the universe organized on that particular day, right? That time that I would be walking down that particular street, right? At that appointed time. There's so many things in our lives that we have really nothing to do with, but it's being organized by God, by the universe. If we are listening, what are you listening with? If you are listening and being obedient and doing what that divine urge within you is telling you to do, right? So when I ran back out, because I was having a moment, right? I don't know what I would have done if he was still there. I really don't know, y'all. I just knew that I needed to just like see if it was real, right? And I knew that it was, but he was gone when I got there. But I received what I needed, because in that moment, I was saying to myself, I need to ask for what I want. And I need to believe that I will receive it. And so I started writing down what I wanted. This is 20 years ago, y'all. I started writing down what I wanted. The believing was shaky, y'all. I ain't lying. The believing was shaky, right? I had to get my mind right. And I remember one of the things that I wrote down was about going back to school to get my master's degree. I remember that, right? And all kinds of things happen for that to occur that I've shared in previous sips. So I won't share all that again. So what is it that you want? Write it down. Believe that you will receive it. Be specific about what it is that you want. Now, that is very different. When I say be specific, that is different from saying how you're going to get it. Right? Don't concern yourself about the how, because what do we say? The how is none of your business. The how is God's business. God will take care of the how. But say what you want. Be specific about what you want. The know-how is fine. You don't have to know how. God knows how. God knows how. Yes? All right. So, are you homeless? Are you? Have you wandered away from your Ori? Is it time for you to return to the root? Mm. Are you connected to your universal GPS? What are you connecting to? What are you listening with? Hmm? Many of us have wandered off from our divine purpose that we chose, y'all. That we chose. So it's time to return home. It's time for that reunion with yourself, with your higher self that knows everything. You don't have to travel to find it. It's within. It's within. It's within. So let's return home. Yes. Let's ask, knowing and believing that we are receiving even now. Even now, we are receiving. So let's listen. Mm. Let's take action. Let's give. Because the other thing about that parable is if I hadn't given the $10, I would not have received something that was priceless. Something that was priceless. So let's give so that we can receive what we need. So we could give some more and we could receive some more. Right? That's the flow. That's the flow. All right, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoy my parable of homelessness. True story. True story. And that is the lesson that I received. So take what resonates with you. And tomorrow I'm going to share Helen Moore's parable. And I'm just so excited to share her parable. I'm going to share a Jesus parable maybe on Thursday or Friday. We'll see. And I think I'm going to share one other classmate's parable Thursday or Friday. Okay? All right, y'all. All right. Thank you, Margaretta. It was a great lesson for me. It was a great lesson for me. And I was so grateful taking that class sparked that remembrance of that whole experience. Yes. You know why? Because great lessons, Margaretta called it a great lessons. Great lessons are timeless. They're applicable all the time. All the time. You wandered off, return to the root. Listen to your Ori, to your higher self. Yes? That doesn't expire. It doesn't expire. All right,
All
y'all.
right.
So, all right, let me check in with Sekou. How you doing?
Good. I'm good. So it's funny in the comments, people are trying to guess what the insects are. Somebody says cicadas, and then somebody else said, "What is this? Canada? Canada? Yeah." Anyway, so that's pretty interesting. Also, I want to respond to Jamie about the longest sermons. Typically, that Sunday, not this Sunday because I'm the guest host this Sunday, but typically Rev Mel's longest sermons are Sundays.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, please join me on Sundays. I'm the minister at Rockland CSL, and we have our full blown Sunday service celebration. And the lessons, the sermons, the talks are usually about 20 minutes or so, somewhere around there. So you could always listen to the replay here or on YouTube. Also, if your time is limited, I totally understand, girl. We got things to do, so you can always listen to the replay. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah, so I think that's it. I just wanted to recommend that book that you held up earlier, and you held this up yesterday, and I downloaded the sample last night, and I started reading it this morning, and I was like, "Woo!" Yeah, it talks about parables, but there's some other stuff in there that's really good, and so I am co-signing that book. I get some serious stuff in there.
Yes, yes. Because what Ervin Seale does is he gives you the new thought interpretation. So this is my whole thing with the Bible and any other text is it has to be applicable to my life right now, right? So Jesus is that so wonderful, my brother. But how does that apply to my life right now? So if I can't apply it to my life right now, then so that's what I love about the way that Ervin Seale interprets the parables. He makes it current and applicable right now to our current life situations. And I hope that's what my morning sips do for you too, right? How can I apply this to my life now?
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And makes it clear that we're all experiencing parables all the time if we grab it, if we reach for it. Because when you said parables and you talk about writing them, that seemed like something very far away. But just reading the beginning of the book is like, oh, parables are happening all around us all the time, as you just explained with your story. It was great.
Yes. 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 All right. All right. I see y'all. I see you, Bonnie. I have some of my Rockland CSL congregation members here. Bonnie, I see you. Ron, it's wonderful to have y'all. I love the blending of my congregation of joy and my congregation at Rockland CSL. It's all joy. It's all joy because at Rockland, we say that we are a community of joy and love. So it's all one thing, y'all. It's all one thing. Yes, it is. And I am sweating, so we're going to end the show right here because it is humid. It is so humid out here. Thank you all for being with me today. Nan's asking for the book. I'll put it on my page too. Ervin Seale, Learn to Live. Okay? Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. We continue with the parable series. Peace and blessings, peace and justice. We're living life in joy, connected to our yes.